What's up? It's me back again, Analog Attack. How you all doing? Good to see you.
Hi,
Today, all the way from Minneapolis, Andy Lefton's with me. How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing well, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. You're
Yeah,
sounding
man.
amazing. You sound amazing. Probably the best sounding guest I've had on so far.
Really?
You
It's the
really?
weather, man. It's starting to get a little warmer here, so everyone's getting a little more pep in their step.
There you go.
Yeah,
Oh, you having a drink? What are you drinking
I
today?
am. A special occasion beer because I knew I was going to be talking to you.
Oh, that is Nest beer, and
Yep,
that's Yuzu
yep.
Lime.
And it's fantastic. And I'm a lager guy, so it's like I discovered this
Mm,
I don't know, a few months ago, 6 months ago, and
yeah.
it's fantastic beer.
Well, Yuzu's like a citrus fruit, Japanese citrus
Yeah.
fruit.
Yeah, we use it in some cooking around here as well.
Okay. Well, the funny thing about that company is they're kind of more popular in the States than they are here.
Interesting.
They've sort of managed to get like
Yeah.
pretty well known in the States, more so
Yeah.
than here. I don't know how, but and the owl on the front is kind of seems to be
Yeah.
really popular.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great label, but it was like one of those things where like sometimes when you go out of like overseas or to another country, you like
Yeah.
discover that culture's beer or something,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, or like you try something there and you're
Mm.
like, this is fantastic, but then they look at you and they're like, this is our worst beer. What are you talking about? So I was like, I was a little reluctant to be like, hey,
Well, I bet if you came here and you were like you went to a punk show and you had a can of that, people would be like, "What the hell is that?"
right, right,
Because not many people know.
yeah.
Mm.
It's like when I went to, I think I was in England or Holland or something like that, and they're just like, oh yeah, we fucking love Jim Beam, and it's like, what the fuck, who would like in their right mind voluntarily drink Jim Beam? But again, it's an opinion thing.
Yeah, yeah. But they sell a whole bunch. They have like the whole range. Like they have a stout and a whole bunch of beers.
I'll meet you there.
I've had that on tap as well. I've had it on tap.
Really,
Very
it's
good. So
fantastic. Usually when you get it on tap, it's usually a lot better too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So nice. Oh, everyone, I'm always drinking
Oh
this.
yeah, what do you got there?
This is Japanese beer too. It's called Ginga Kogen. It's a
Yeah,
wheat beer, white's in. It's kind of
you
getting
like those wheat
popular.
beers?
You can get it in convenience stores now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's tasty.
It's a very refreshing looking can.
Yeah, so you've got the owl, and I've got the
Yeah, it's like a reindeer,
reindeer. Yeah,
caribou or something.
howling at the moon. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know the hell about the moon, but hey, it's my new spirit animal.
Anyway, Andy, we're here today. Wow, we've got lots to talk about.
Yeah, man.
Basically, Minneapolis
Oh,
focused.
Minneapolis, man.
Minneapolis, man. So where does it all start for you? As far as the punk scene goes.
Man, where do I
Yeah, where,
start? I don't
where
know,
do you
dude.
start? Yeah.
Minneapolis, I came here at the end of 99.
All right. Okay.
I believe it was early October of 99. And because I actually was looking, well, it's kind of a last minute decision, but I was looking to get out of where I was previously, and I came from Colorado.
Colorado. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it was gorgeous and stuff, but I was younger, it was, whatever, early 20s, mid 20s, and the things around Colorado just sort of, they didn't die, they just kind of stagnated.
Right.
And at that time, I was playing, punk, crest, whatever, in the Denver area, and
Oh,
so
okay. So tell us a little bit about
yeah,
Colorado.
yeah.
Let's backtrack.
Yeah. I mean, there was a long history of excellent punk rock that came out of Colorado, the Denver Boulder area,
Right.
late 80s, all the way up until, well, for my opinion, late 90s. And when, that's when things kind of soured, at least for me. But
Okay.
yeah, like I got into punk living in Colorado as a
Right.
kid, so whatever, late 80s or something.
Mm.
And my first experience with that was Dead Silence.
Yeah.
Like Dead Silence actually converted me. I can say to this day that, well, there was a handful, but I would say like the most prominent thing there was Dead Silence.
Wow.
And it was an educational thing, man, because it's just like, if like the first LP, Stress, and when I heard that, it was, I mean, I wasn't really that musically inclined, but it was raw and it was primal, and it was like, man, this is incredible stuff. And then you read the lyrics and you're like, oh, this is actually really incredible stuff. And then you just kind of learn from that. And so that's where I started.
Dead Silence are kind of more of like a peace punk, anarcho punk kind
They
of?
were, and
Right?
actually,
Um,
I did I grab the LP? I'm pretty sure I did.
oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is the first
Nice.
pressing I got.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Dead Silent Stress.
I love the look of that record. I love that old like stark black and white.
Yeah, just monochrome, just simple kind of, but it was yeah, it changed the trajectory of my life.
Wow.
But yeah, peace punk, they did a Rudimentary Peni cover, so that kind of tells you their direction.
Yeah.
But it was, it wasn't great production, but it was obviously powerful enough to change my life.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, man, just Colorado was good. It was funky. It had like the whole Midwest area kind of has a weird signature sound to it. Like you have East Coast and West Coast and areas of the world that have specific sounds, but like the Midwest and like around Rockies and stuff kind of had I don't know, kind of a more of a tame sound, I guess. And that's why like Dead Silence for me kind of stood out because it was a little more raw.
What were some of the other bands from that area, like Colorado?
Oh God, there was Keep in Mind. And this is kind of going back early. Keep in Mind, there was a Reagan Youth from Denver.
Really?
Yeah. And yeah, it was interesting. I think they were around 83 or 84. So they were around when the other Reagan Youth was going, right? Yeah. But they kind of sounded more like, and it was awesome. It was killer hardcore, it was like, I don't know, early Angry Samoans or, early The Freeze kind of sound, kind of stuff. But it was really good. And then, I don't know, in my circle of punkers, whatever, that's where kind of the whole D-beat crusty kind of thing flourished, so there was Up Yours, there was Cluster Fucks, there was Homesick Abortions, Hostile Intent. I don't know, there was a couple bands I was in. There was Mass Extinction, there was Dead State, and then I played in probably the more well-known one at that time. And it's kind of my roots, and this is a silly name, people still take the piss out of me for it to this day, but it was Flux of Disorder.
Oh
yeah, I hear the trombone. Wow,
you're in a Flux of Disorder.
Yeah, dude, that's guitar, man, right? So it was me and my buddy Pete, my buddy Dwight, my buddy Pat, and then we had another guitarist that sing guitars for a little while named Mark. Then we had a second vocalist named Chester. So it was like kind of the Commodores of punk, Colorado punk, whatever. But it was just over a drunken thing, it was like, hey, what are we going to name the band? We didn't know what the fuck we're playing, but
what did you put out? Like a 7-inch?
We put out 3 7-inches, and they were 3 split. Actually, we did 3 splits, and then we did 1 demo tape. So it was first split was with Denver's Up Yours.
Okay.
And that was off this label. I don't think it's around anymore. My buddy in Denver had it. It was called Hazy Morning Records.
All right.
And then the other 2 were a split with Armistice.
Oh, okay.
Out of California.
Yeah.
Yep. Really good folks there. And then the other split was with this band from Arizona called Vomitus. Yeah, they were kind of this crusty, grindy kind of stuff. Really interesting stuff. But Jason, who played drums in Vomitus, is now playing drums with Jello Biafra with the Guantanamo School of Medicine. So,
wow.
And his new band Charger, and then he plays in Cross Stitched Eyes. He sang for them. But anyway, so we did a split with his old band.
That's a nice little story though. Yeah, Cross-Stitched Eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm kind of like me. It's pandemic talk. I don't talk to anybody anymore when I get a chance.
Bring it up.
Yeah, let's talk about everything.
So that's 1999. You leave Colorado and come to Minneapolis. What any reason for that, or like just? I'm sorry. Any reason why you chose Minneapolis?
So during the time of being in Flux, it was, we made contacts, you made network. And obviously during that time, Minneapolis was a hotspot. You had Profiting Systems, you had Havoc, you had, all kinds of stuff going on here, Extreme Noise Records, and it was just the epicenter.
Right. And
so when I got to a point in Colorado where I felt like it wasn't for me anymore, and I wasn't really kind of going anywhere, kind of packed my bags and headed north, and I knew people here, You know, I had a really good friend here as well. And so it was kind of a combination of both getting involved in the music and the scene,
right,
and the community itself, and then getting into school, like trying to find some direction in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. This Minneapolis has been great. It was a good decision for me.
Yeah. So when you arrived here, like, what was happening punk-wise in 1999?
I'm trying to remember. Fuzzy memories. Yeah. A lot, man. It was active. And I mean, it still is, you know, I mean, not now with the pandemic, but I mean,
Right.
back then it was like, I mean, I came here in 99, so it wasn't like the earlier mid 90s, you know, but it was still incredibly hot. So, you know, you had State of Fear, you had Code 13. Code 13 went to Damage Deposit, I think. And then, you know, just all these other new bands formed. You know, we started Provoked.
Yep.
You know, I played in Pontius Pilate as well. And then there was bands like Garden Bozia.
Yep.
I don't know. It goes on and on, man. And so it was active. So it was like, you know, shows every week, parties every week. And, you know, it's, you know, what we do in our 20s, man.
Yeah.
You know, and so I felt like once I arrived, it was like, oh, this is my tribe. You know, I mean, Colorado was great, but I didn't really feel like I had like any association there, at least anymore. So coming here, it was kind of it was refreshing.
Yeah. So I guess like if we were to say like Minneapolis punk, like the average person would probably just immediately think of that whole Husker Du, Replacements, Soul Asylum. What's
the starter pack?
Yeah, you know, but that's, you know, it's kind of popular or well known for a reason, right? I mean, all those bands are great bands, but were you kind of into that stuff too, or?
I mean, yes, but not like, I'm not going to run out and buy the, you know, limited edition re-release of whatever. Like that's, you know, and again, it was just, I don't know, man, you're young, you know, so it's like, you're kind of like, you know, you have that natural kind of, you know, you're in a tribe pretentiousness or something. You're just like, no, I want the new fucking D beat, whatever, you know, and that comes and it goes. But then you just kind of realize after a while, like, you know what, actually stuff like that, like Husker Du, you know, all the other bands, like they did leave an impact,
right?
For, you know, to bring us to where we are now. So you kind of stop yourself and you just think back and you're like, you know what, you learn to appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, you find out the history around here too, and it's like, oh shit, okay, so Replacements, you know, jammed right down the street in the basement of the CC Club or something, you know, or Husker Du did, you know. So I mean, it's cool, man. There's a lot of history around here.
Do you think was there any kind of crossover between those like scenes, like more crust scene and that kind of scene? Was there crossover at all?
Well, I mean, from my personal experience, like it was very there was a kind of a lot of solidarity between the music and the message itself. So it's like you could walk into a show and you could be playing with, you know, or seeing like, I don't know, some crusty D beater, you know, and then, you know, next is Dillinger 4, you know, or something like that, you know, or the Soviets or Sweet Jap or something, you know, and it's like nobody had a problem sharing a stage with another band that wasn't the genre, you know, or even there was times like hip hop, you know, was involved as well. So, you know, it's times have just changed with everything, you know, and I'm not trying to be like the old fuddy-duddy, like, man, back in my day, you know, fuck that shit. But it's like, you know, with it, you know, the evolution of the internet and all this stuff, you know, it's just, I feel like right now there's kind of a need to push things back underground. You know, just because there's so much material and consumerism involved in looking the part and being the part. So that's kind of personally where I'm at, you know, where it's like we need to start like getting serious about the music, because it's not about the newest fucking D-beat clone band that cloned another clone band kind of thing.
Yeah, I actually kind of got really disillusioned with like hardcore and punk and everything about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yep. A lot of people did, man.
And just, I didn't really buy anything new for quite a few years.
Dude, I'm rowing that same boat with you.
Really?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, and it's not that I don't love it, because I do, because the energy is there, you know, but, you know, I mean, I don't know about how you feel, you know, I mean, we collect records and we collect the music, but I mean, for me personally, man, it's like it goes back to the dead silence thing. I bought the record because there was a message, you know, there was an emotion and a feeling behind it. It wasn't just like trying to fit in with the crowd and, hey, I got the first pressing of this. It's like, it's important to read the lyrics and understand where this person is coming from, you know, because it brought me to where I am. And again, it goes back to what I said earlier, where it was an education, man.
Yeah.
You know, you learn this shit from a fucking dead silence lyric sheet or a crass lyric sheet. You're not going to learn that in a classroom, man.
Yeah, it is tough being older and kind of like yeah. I mean, just seeing like clones of clones of clones and like
Oh, dude,
being like more and more watered down as you go along.
yeah.
And you know, I try to remain enthusiastic, but it's kind of tough when you're just seeing nothing really. But you know what? About 2 years ago, something happened, and now I'm buying like so many new records.
You're like, I'm back, man.
I'm back, you know, and it's
back.
I love it, man. I'm really excited, and I'm even like keeping a list of my favorite records from last year, and because there's a lot of good music, man, that's like coming out.
There is a lot of good music, man. Yeah, and you know, I do want to say though that like in regards to the clones of the clones of the clones, I mean, we were young ones too, you know, and I'm not saying that I mean, these aren't fucking 50-year-old dudes doing this shit. You know, they're kids that are really stoked, that are energetic, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, you know, are you going to see this? Are you going to see this person in khakis and loafers in the next 2 years? You know, it's like, are you in it for life?
Yeah,
man. You know.
Yeah.
But it's good to hear though. But yeah, I totally agree, man. It's like, okay, you know, we have the power of the internet, which is awesome at times and it can completely suck at times.
Yeah.
But it's like you could utilize it for good and like really discover awesome stuff out there.
Yeah.
You know, and
there's a group on Facebook now, like, what are you listening to? It's run by Bill Chamberlain, who's in the Piss. Are you on there?
Yeah, I know Bill.
Yeah, but like
I played with that dude several times.
People are posting like so many good like new records and stuff that look at this and this is great.
Oh yeah.
Especially
Spain.
Dude. And going off topic now, but like Spain, a lot of good bands from Spain coming
dude, up. That's actually a good point, man, because I was kind of like, where was I going? I was like, you know, I'm always checking out stuff like Indonesia and Malaysia and stuff like that, because those kids out there are like fucking ready, you know, they're serious, dude. And so like when I started seeing stuff like, you even posted some stuff from like Colombia and stuff, I was like,
Colombia,
holy shit,
Muro and like, stuff like that.
Man. Yeah. So yeah, and I'm getting charged right now. I'm getting
Me too. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
that energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that's what it's totally about. So yeah, spread the wealth, man. It's it's nice to know that there's new stuff coming out.
Yeah, so let's go back again, like
go this way.
2000, 2001. So let's talk about like record stores and stuff like that. Extreme Noise is kind of legendary, right? How did that come about? Like Felix Havoc is a kind of big guy, right? Well, in Minneapolis, as far as
Felix. I mean, I don't know. It's Felix. It's just like he's a good guy. He's just the dude around the block, you know. But yeah, I mean, he's got a very long history, you know. He's helped the community extensively,
right?
You know, but my first experience was in 1995, so right after they first opened. So Flux was on tour.
Right.
Our first stop was Minneapolis because again, we kind of knew people here. So we drove off the highway, showed up at Extreme Noise, and I mean, for me personally, that was kind of, you know, like this is sign, seal, and deliver. I want to be here someday.
Yeah.
You know, and you just walk into it, and it's a punk store, you know, and it smells like cigarettes and beer and weird stuff. But yeah, you know, but it's good, dude. I live on the same block right now as Extreme Noise.
Damn.
I can like throw a rock and I'll hit it. It's hard.
Is it open? Is it open now?
They just closed a half hour ago.
I mean, okay, but it's like opening up.
I was like, do you want to go? Let's go, man.
Buy a record now?
Yeah, I'll buy you a beer. Let's go. Oh yeah. So, and I mean, it's been trying times with businesses closing down, and then we had the riots, you know, and that was right in front of my house. You know, it got looted, the store did, but not that bad.
Remember Felix posting like the post office that he uses kind of got burnt down or something, and he lost.
It's right here, right down the street. Yeah, it's floored.
He lost a whole bunch of like Dysphere like represses or something.
Dude, oh man, that sucks because I had records there too, dude.
Yeah.
I had records coming in from Poland, and it was some of the art that I worked on this record.
But
it was for an orphanage named Earth. So a whole package was there. And yeah, I didn't hear that. That sucks.
Yeah, the post office, right, was burnt down, I think.
It's completely gone right now. Like literally like this week they've been tearing it down because it's just a skeleton.
Wow.
Yeah, and it sucks, man. But yeah, like I'll have to talk to Felix about that. That sucks. But yeah, like I was like, fuck, I lost all those records. They're gone, you know. And like 2 weeks later, this postal truck pulled up to my house. I don't know, I was doing some fucking mowing or something. The truck pulls up and this guy walks out with a box. He's like, you know, hey, this is like, here's your package. And I'm like, I saw in the address. I was like, how is this possible? Like it burned down. He's like, we tried to we were throwing mail into trucks trying to get it out before it burned down. So I was one of the lucky ones.
What was in that box?
This was in the box. That art I did.
Okay. There you go. Sorry. Yeah.
This was a box of those. And I mean, I can always get another box, but you know, you don't want your shit to burn.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I probably derailed the conversation again.
No. I just was interested in extreme noise.
Oh yeah. Extreme noise is an asset around here, man. Yeah. It's a hub, you know, it's all volunteer run. It's been going for over 25 years, 26 years. That's now.
So cool that it's like kept going like all that time. I mean,
yeah, man, it's strong. Yeah, I actually got a pile of records downstairs I got to take there tomorrow, but it's a great place, man.
How big is it? Is it big?
How big is it?
Yeah, I know it's a weird question. I'm just interested in these things.
I mean, they have a back room where they can have bands.
Okay. So,
but I mean, it's a room. It's not a venue size.
Right.
I don't know. I'd probably say they're gonna listen to this and be like, Andy, you're an idiot. It's not, but I don't know. It's one floor. It's okay. It's kind of like your average record store.
You've been to Japan, right, Andy? You've been to Japan?
No, but we're planning on it. But no, I haven't.
Just, you know, Japanese record stores are generally like really tiny.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you know, so it's like people are always like blown away by how big, you know, these. American.
Yeah, no, there's room to move in extreme noise.
Right.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, it's a great store, man.
And it's it's punk and hardcore. It's punk and hardcore only, right? Am I right? No. No.
What?
It's like they only sell punk and hardcore, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
You get they'll sell they've got metal there. They've got thrash. They've got grind. But I mean, you also get people that, you know, it sucks, but they come in and they sell their massive collections. And it's like all this like crazy, well, not vintage, but first pressing Metallica or fucking Exodus or something. I don't know. And, you know, yeah, you'll see it there. They have all different kinds. But I mean, you're not going to find like smooth jazz or.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of thinking of, you know, that they have like.
It's strictly, it's extreme music.
All right. There you go. All right. Cool.
Bing. Yeah.
And who's managing, or, you know, who's running it?
It's run by a board. Okay. So it's like a committee. I guess not a board, but like a committee. And so, excuse me, there's like a handful of people that make the decisions and, you know, budgetary this and taxes this and who's working this week kind of thing. So all right. It's a well-oiled machine.
Cool. I'd like to visit someday. And then venues, there's some like legendary venues too, right? In around that time.
There was, well, that's been obviously with the pandemic, a massive kind of stress factor around here, but Triple Rock closed.
Oh, that was the one I was thinking
a few years ago. Yeah, that was a crushing blow because it was run by one of the gentlemen from Dillinger 4, Eric, and a couple other. But yeah, and so it was basically kind of a punk club, you know, and so it was they were so successful in the first few years that they built an attachment to an addition, and that was the venue. And that was a long time ago, but it was popular, man. You know, when they decided to close, it was pre-pandemic. It was, you know, they have their reasons,
right?
But yeah, they closed. But you know, thankfully, a lot of other venues around here picked up the slack, and not so much like, you know, obligated. It was like, hey, we know what Triple Rock meant. We're going to help out. And so those are kind of the active spaces now.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, you know, now we've got like Mortimer's, we've got Part Wolf,
Right.
we've got there's a VFW hall, you know, it's usually for bigger bands because it's a pretty large space. And you know, your random house shows.
Right.
You know, and there's other stuff going on, but
right. Andy, we're on Analog Attack. Do you have some analog with you? Do you have a bunch of records that are important to you from Minneapolis? Bands, records?
I don't know, man. Yeah, so I don't know, like, so when I grew up,
Yeah,
when I was tiny, and I got into punk, growing up in Colorado, I came from kind of a smaller town. I mean, when I say small, I mean literally like 300 people. And so at that time, there was no like real resources for finding punk. You know, the best thing that when you could find it was compilations, you know, because you could just have, you know, a huge swath of bands, you know, and that's when comps were awesome, you know. So I started out kind of like, I wasn't like a hardcore kid, but I was like, you know, I was into New York hardcore.
Oh, cool.
Big time. So, you know, like obviously Agnostic Front, you know, stuff like that. And I know, this was one of my favorites because I was kind of a stupid skater kid too.
Oh yeah. Free for All,
Token Entry,
yeah,
Wrecking Crew, like all those guys. And it's live, but it was one of those things that I had blasting throughout my, you know, my junior high and high school years, man. Because just the energy of it, it was insane. It was absolutely insane. So it was like that. Obviously, you had like the Peace Comp. What else? I can't remember. I don't even know if I grabbed. Oh, you know what? This one signed, sealed, and delivered my fate.
Oh, interesting.
Flipside Volume 1, man.
GBH.
This to me, yeah, it's Psycho, The Undead, Borscht, The Freeze, White Flag, Gay Cowboys in Bondage, TSOL, GBH, FUs, F, Kraut, like all kinds of incredible bands, and every track on here kicks ass. And so this is my baby right here.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was like, okay, comps, you know, and then you know, just little piddly stuff. This one was super cheesy, but God, I love some of the tracks.
Oh yeah. I don't have that now, but I bought it back in the
super
day. Yeah.
Super corny. Like, I'm not going to be like, fuck man, I'm going to throw this on right now, you know, but it's like, well, actually maybe I will, you know, but I don't know. It's good, man. And then, I don't know. This was always kind of a tough one for me to find. I had it on tape a long time ago, but Airstrip 1,
Mystic
dude
Records, right? With all British bands, is that right?
So this is super bonkers, right? So this has killer bands on it, and this is actually how I discovered Cowboy Killers. Oh man, fucking love Cowboy Killers. Right? Good band. So Instigators, Oi Polloi, Civilized Society, Deviated Instinct, Napalm Death, HDQ, who I love. I love all these bands. Dan, you know. But it was interesting because you couldn't find this. It was out of print, blah blah blah. But they did a reissue of it. They did a reissue of it under the title. It was like something like it, like the cover had like a Union Jack on it. And it was like, oi, the sounds of UK or something like that. And it's like, oh, sweet. Deviated Instinct is oi. Like, that's fucking cool, man. And so, no bands on that were oi. But anyway, that's how I discovered was the reissue, which was on cassette, like, I don't know, 1989, 1990, something like that. But anyway, I finally tracked down the original pressing. And that was it. But yeah, like, I don't know, man. I was just into like Crippled Youth.
Oh,
remember Crippled Youth? It was
that's like pre-bold
today.
Pre-bold.
Bold, yeah, dude. I don't know why, but like, again, it was like when you're young and you're just kind of like in this weird town of nothing, you know, you're not going to be like critical. You're not going to be critical and be like, I don't know about this band, man. They seem a little too angry. You know, you're going to be like, this is cool shit, man. You learn to appreciate it. And then I discovered The Accused.
Oh,
that kind of changed a lot for me. That kind of brought in kind of musicianship,
right,
to the whole thing. I could probably say that some of my influence, my guitar playing, came from The Accused. Tommy. Great band. you know, but yeah, I guess you have to have an ear for it. Not everyone's just like, you know, fuck yeah, Accused, you know, but
no, they were kind of I think they were kind of an important band in a lot of ways. I just say that guitar sound, it was like metally, but it was still like really hardcore punk. It was crossover, but it wasn't like too metal for like just right pitched perfectly.
And like
dirty sounding too. That first,
it was gnarly, you know. But like even for me, like it was like, it's like, is the Accused a guilty pleasure? Like Crass isn't gonna like this, you know. But it was like, it was so fucking cool, man, because it was very intricate, you know, and like even like the lyrical content, like, oh, this song's about ghosts and ghouls and fucking, you know, beating up rapists or something, which is fucking great. But it's like I don't know, that band I think musically kind of changed a lot for me direction wise. Got me away from the 3/4 chord thing.
Yeah. Great band. So that's like Little Andy's kind of influences. And then when we get to Minneapolis, like you must have so many good important records and stories. Misery was a big band, right?
Dude, yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so
let's talk about Misery. Let's talk about Misery. Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're some of my closest friends. They're, you know, they're excellent people. You know, I played with Johnny when I was in the Unmentionable band name.
We'll get to that later a little bit.
Yeah. But so anyway, I mean, Johnny, he lived one block from me.
Right.
1.5 blocks. So I mean, you know, we weren't, you know, I wouldn't say we were like connected at the hip or anything, but I mean, he's one of my closest dudes, man. I love that guy. So Misery, like, I first saw them live in 1998 at the Wisconsin Barn Fest.
Wow.
And it was, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it was a 3-year fest that happened in like the middle of the woods in Wisconsin. And it was just absolute insanity, but it was the best experience. And so that's when I saw Misery. And then soon after that, I moved to Minneapolis. And then got involved with music. I worked at Havoc for a couple of years, screen printing.
Wow.
And then I moved in with Johnny. I lived at the Misery House, which was right down here. And then stayed there for a good handful of years until I got my own place with my lady. But yeah, Misery, man. Okay, so going back to kind of talking about signature sounds,
all right,
you know, like the area of this world has this kind of sound.
Yeah.
Like when I think of Minneapolis, I think of Misery, man, because it's just like there's such that staple.
Me too. You know, well, there's that Husker Du thing we're talking about, but as far as the kind of world we're in, that's the first band that comes to mind immediately. Misery.
Yeah. Misery, you know, and then it's just kind of like, okay, then you had like State of Fear, you know, bands like that.
LP again recently.
Dude, that thing changed the world. Like when you heard that, like we've all heard like some killer like Scandinavian hardcore stuff, man. But when I heard that, I was like blown away. And I've seen them play before that came out, but man, like that LP, it's a precedent, man. Like people are trying to like do that, you know, like that was a good sound here, dude. Like the shows were great.
Yeah.
Civil D was a good band. Civil Disobedience.
So Misery, they got so many records. Do you have a favorite Misery record? Do you have any Misery records at hand?
Yeah. Well, obviously there's a split with SDS.
I think like, because I was doing like MCR UK.
Man.
MCR company put that record out. That was like, so I was doing the distribution and everything like for MCR. And that record, there was a couple of others, but that record and the SDS like 7-inch were like the biggest sellers. I mean, everyone loved that record, the Misery SDS.
Dude, that record was,
because they were Japanese records were hard to sell because they were expensive.
Yep.
People they loved that record. It's like a legendary split.
Dude, that record was touched by the hand of God, man. It's so insane. It's so good, man. You know, but I mean, like even like Production Through Destruction, like that LP, all the 7 inches, Blinded, you know, like all that's, I mean, you can't really put your finger on it, you know. It's just like, I don't know, man. When I hear like Midnight and New Year's Day, or when I hear like Next Time, like come on, like that song is so powerful. Like not only just the riff, but listen to the message, you know. like, that's what punk rock is, dude. You're supposed to just kind of reflect, man. And that's what that did, you know? Anyway.
Yeah. What's the
Let me step off my soapbox here.
What's the connection with like nausea and misery? Like
oh yeah, dude, Al, man.
Al.
Okay, so I know I'm probably gonna get something wrong here. So Johnny or Gags or Todd, if you or Sid. So Al was the original vocalist for Misery back in the late 80s. And Johnny and I always talked about this kind of story, but it's always over like 4,000 beers. So I was like, tell me the story again, John. But anyway, so Al was the first vocalist for Misery, and he's from here. Al is, I mean, he lives like 15 miles from here, north, a little north from here. But he sang for Misery. You know, I think at that time, Misery and New York were kind of like sister cities, like sister scenes, you know, so they would travel back and forth playing and whatever. And I think there was a situation where Al decided to stay or got invited to play in Nausea or something like that. So I'm generalizing.
Yeah.
And so that's when Al left and then started singing vocals in Nausea. And now I don't know the politics or the infrastructure of what happened with Neil and stuff. So I don't want to go down that road. But that's when the other dudes in Misery took over his vocals. And so they're doing that. But Al, dude, he's right up the road. Well, 15 miles.
Wow.
He did vocals on on a War Plague LP. Like he just like showed up with Johnny. We were recording and we're like, Al, get on vocals and sang. So it was cool. Yeah.
So who was in State of Fear? What was like the history?
They had quite a bit of lineup on drummers. And I can't remember all the names, but I know for the last lineup, John Hurt. I don't know if you know John Hurt from Seattle. He was the last drummer they had on their last kind of, I guess, get together, reunion, whatever. And then it was Bracken, who was on guitar. And then there was John Krupa also, who was on guitar and vocals. And then Jay Styles.
Disrupt? No, Destroy.
Huh? Disrupt. Yeah. Death Raid. I think he's in a new band now called, I don't know, Jay, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think he's in Night Feeder.
Okay.
They're awesome. Check out their demo. It's badass. Night Feeder. But yeah, so Jay was vocals and guitar as well. And I'm sorry, John Krupa was bass. But that was the lineup for State of Fear.
Right. Andy, do you have any like records from Minneapolis at hand we can have a look at?
I don't know, man. I don't know. What do I got here? I probably got something, dude. Oh, speaking of comps, yeah. There was a time. Let me tell you a little story.
All right, cool.
There was a time when Minneapolis used to like put out comps, and not like a lot of them, but there was like a time when it was just like comps were still a thing.
Yeah.
They put out, this was one. There was one before this. I don't have it, but this one was called When Hell Freezes Over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has like Calloused, Code 13, Scorned, Misery, Segway Punches, Pilot, Feed the Machine, Dreadnought,
Calloused. Good band.
And so the drummer Chad plays with us now. He's in War Plague.
I picked up a couple of their LPs or an LP. It's great, man. Great band.
Their LP, I think that's the one where Marld did the cover.
I think so, yeah.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember.
Okay.
my memory.
It's just behind me, but if I leave this seat, I might not come back. So
oh yeah, here's that Crippled Youth.
There you go.
So No Holds Back, All Out Attack is another kind of Minneapolis Twin Cities comp. Dude, there's just so many bands.
Come on, give us some names. Who's on that comp?
Oh my god, I don't even know where to start. Holding On, Martyred AD, Scorned, Red Vendetta, Provoked, Pontius Pilate, Sweet Jap, Too Pure to Die, which was like this, I mean, you could probably guess, like this super fucking straight edge. Dillinger 4, Ed Gein Fan Club. But I don't know. I mean, most of the Minneapolis stuff I have. Oh, you know what? This was a Profane one. I mean, it was an international comp, but it came off Profane and Scald was the Whispers comp.
Oh, I've got that.
Dude,
down there.
this is timeless, man.
Mm.
This is timeless. The tracks on this, timeless.
That one, because obviously like Chrysler put that together pretty much.
Chrysler and Dan is
it took him like 3, 4, maybe 5 years to get it.
5+ man, I think.
Yeah.
Unhinged. Oh, dude. That's Unhinged is like one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time.
Belgian, right?
Health Hazard, like, anyway, sorry, I know we're getting derailed
here.
So, hey, kiddies, if you're getting into punk rock, Whispers comp.
It's a good comp. Triple album, right? Am I right? Triple.
So the only Minneapolis records I have is just the art I did for the Misery.
Let's have a look at it.
You want to segue to that?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Give old Andy a minute here. What else did I do? I can't remember.
Okay.
So this was their last two, their latest one.
Okay.
This was their last one. But it was from the seeds that we have sown. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
It's a little child planting a seed in the desert wasteland.
Well, when did that come out?
And then the child's all grown up, picking rotten fruit from the tree. But yeah, this was art I did. This was their last one. Killer record. And the one before that, and unfortunately, not unfortunately, because it's killer release. This one is actually being repressed. Just got repressed from Phlox, from Fight for Your Mind Records. Sorry, dude, I forgot your record label name. But this was a good one too. So again, more Misery stuff. But anyway, yeah, since with my relationship with Misery, when things grew, they're like, hey, you want to do art, blah blah, and relationships cool more. I don't know.
Talking of art, you've done a lot of stuff.
I don't know, man. That was a weird journey.
Yeah. How did it start?
That's a good question, because I don't know, because I never planned. It just happened.
Oh yeah.
And I don't really consider myself kind of, I don't know, I'm not like an artiste. I'm not like an artistic person. It just kind of happened. But I went to school for kind of media production. So it was like, I know animation, 3D animation, visual effects, stuff like that. But I'm really into art, and I know what happened. Okay. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but when Amoebix did the reunion,
right?
Actually, prior to that, right before it, I remember when I found out they were starting to do stuff, and this wasn't really broken publicly yet, but whatever. Friend of a friend told me. I lost my shit because I was like the world's biggest fan ever. Me, okay? I'm kidding. Everybody is a fan, was a fan.
Everyone loved the Amoebix.
Yeah, did. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, I had my company at the time, and it was just me and a buddy. We were just business partners, and it was a small little studio we had called 8 Point Productions. And so I was doing a lot of animation and motion graphics stuff and whatever. Yep. So I found out that DVD they did, Risen, was being released. So I got a hold of, you know what? He sucked anyway. I'm not going to remember his name. Anyway, I was like, hey, dude, I know that you're connected to this DVD. I will do any graphical work, whatever, for free, because I was a fanboy. So I was like, dude, yeah. And so he's like, okay, of course. And so, I broke my back putting this graphical content together for this DVD. And that's how my relationship forged with the band. Okay. Yeah. So at that point, they liked what I was doing, and they're like, hey, okay, now that we're actually recording again, do you want to do art for our first release? And if after passing out, getting my breath, I was like, yeah. And so I remember this is where this came from. So it was the Knights of the Black Sun. And that was my first album cover that I really ever did.
Wow.
Whatever.
No.
But it was like, that's kind of where it started.
Wow.
And so after that, it's just been,
And then you did like all the Amoebix stuff from then on, right? All of it, right? Yeah,
mainly like the reissues. Okay. And it was hard, man, because it's like, this is classic shit, man. Like, I felt like you're like punching the sacred cow in the dick, It's like, dude, I don't want to do that, man. But I didn't want to say no either.
Right. But why not? Yeah.
And so it was like, the reissue of God. See, now I just want to punch myself, you know, it's like, why
You're not happy with it?
No, I'm absolutely, I had the opportunity to do it, you know, but the reissue of Arise.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I love it. It's great, you know, but I mean, it's again, it's a reissue, you know, but I always try to pay homage to the original art. So, I mean, it's like, I still kind of left the original art.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And yes, all the reissues after that. What else did I do, man? Yeah, whatever your opinion is on this one.
There was, people were kind of like, because that style might have been quite new at the time. Like nobody else is really kind of doing that kind of style on punk records. So no, people kind of divide on it, right?
That was the big fight, man. You know, it's like,
really?
Well, it's not punk. You know, people want, you know, 1982 back.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to grow. You know, fuck that.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to expand. It's okay to like different things.
Yeah.
You know, and so I accepted it. I loved it. I was a part of it. You can yell at me if you want, but it's like, but anyway, so that's that.
Yeah.
And just after that, it just kind of snowballed as people wanted art. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah, man.
So being involved with the Amoebics led to something else, right? Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Andy? Your side of the story, or your feelings, or?
I mean, I don't know, dude. It's
up to you.
Yeah. It was the greatest experience. Okay, it was the greatest experience of my life, and it was the greatest experience for others involved. But It was also the biggest disappointment in our lives,
right?
Because you know,
so everybody, we're talking about Tau Cross.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, for me personally, it's like it's connected to the previous years, because I mean, even prior to Tau Cross, I was involved with Amoebics, and I was close to Rob. Right. You know, I was worked with all those guys, you know, and so we forged a friendship that was really fucking rad, you know.
Yeah.
And getting into Tau Cross was life-changing. But you know, it's public domain. People know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I've disassociated myself completely from everything.
Right.
You know, and as a matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually, for the first time since all of that BS broke loose today, early this morning, I was grabbing coffee and somebody mentioned something online about Tau Cross. And I was like, I still have the mastered album, like our third album.
Really?
Yeah. If you want it, I'll send it. I don't care. That's our work too, dude. Like, you know, so I played a little bit of it. I can only get through like a half a song because it, you know, it brings up emotion.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, when that first album came out, man, I played the hell out of that thing. Loved it,
dude.
Seriously,
it was a good record, man.
I've still got it. I couldn't get the second one. Like, couldn't get it in Japan. It was hard to get.
I can send it to you.
All right.
Only if you want it. Like,
I do.
I know.
I do. I'm looking for it.
You know, there's a stigma on it now. So it's like,
am I a bad person if I listen to that record?
I don't know about that Mike guy. But he's following the wrong crowd.
That first record is, I personally, I like it a lot. I think it's better than the Amoebics reunion stuff.
Yeah, well, you know, some of that stuff bled over from Amoebics.
Yeah, I was thinking
those were actually Amoebics
riffs. I thought so. Yeah.
You know,
let's move on to something more positive, more now.
PMA.
Fear of the known. We're excited about that, right?
Fear of the known, dude. Yeah, you know, this weird shit fucking happens, man. It's like, okay, so here's the deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm kind of the whole fanboy thing with Amoebics. You know, it kind of encompasses the whole Bristol thing.
Yeah, I'm from Bath, near Bristol, but I'm a little bit younger than those guys. A bit intimidating back in the day. Those guys
look good. Yeah.
Still are, actually.
Yeah. So I was really into that. So people are over here with the Japan stuff and, you know, with the European stuff and the Scandi stuff. And here I am in Bristol, like, dude, this is the root, man.
Yeah.
This is where all this shit, everybody is like trying to mimic this, you know? So I'm like all about Bristol. And so, you know, I was all about Disorder, dude, KSUK. I mean, we all grew up on that filthy punk rock stuff, you know? And the thing about that is that it meant more than just like being an outlaw, you know.
Yeah.
It was like, again, it was like, you know, and you probably, you know more about this than I do. I'm not, I'm no pro, but I know during that time things were very uneasy. I know life was very difficult.
It was a
and
time.
so knowing that this music, yeah, and so knowing that this music came from that, the music came from despair, the music came from hunger, that came from,
and you can feel it even now when you play those records. You can feel it,
dude. Absolutely, man.
But
and you nailed it. And you're right. You feel
especially like Amoebics and Disorder, especially those two.
Yes.
Chaos UK also, but like, yeah, those Disorder and Amoebics. And Disorder and Amoebics were very kind of close, right?
Yeah. From what I've talked to and all the stories, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, Bristol was the shit. And so I was all about that. And so when I was doing Tau Cross, if memory serves, disclaimer, if memory serves, Steve Allen was hanging out in Seattle. He was living in Seattle at the time. And he started hanging out knowing Tom Radio. Tom Radio played bass in Tau Cross. And Tom plays in FOTK now. And Tom and I we go way back. Like, we're super close dudes. And so I believe Steve and Tom were talking about music at some point. But then I believe, I don't know how it happened, man, but somehow Steve hooked up with me, asked if I wanted to just throw some guitar riffs on something he was doing at the time. And it was just kind of piddling around with these riffs. He sent me a couple just, you know, rough riffs, and I was fucking floored. They were so good. They were so good. I was like, yes. And at the time I was really busy with War Plague, and I was really busy with Tau Cross.
Right.
And I was like, well, you know, maybe remotely, but unfortunately it kind of fizzled.
Right.
So after Tau Cross, you know, turned to ash, there was kind of a resurgence of what Steve was doing. And I believe I may have reached out to him, or we just somehow connected online, and we started talking about the music again. And so that's when I believe Steve brought up Tom. He's like, I know Tom, he can maybe do bass. But I was like, that'd be a great idea. And then it was the three of us, and we were just kind of throwing ideas off each other. And then that's when he's like, let me talk to Chaos. And I think Chaos at first was a little reluctant, but it didn't take long, man. He was all over it. Cool. You know, we basically like pulled him in, and he was super stoked. And then we started recording, and he got jazzed, and we all got jazzed. And then we got Yuji in. Chaos reached out to, God, I can't remember, somebody in Japan.
Yeah.
That side.
Ishia?
Yes, I believe so.
Probably.
I believe so. Anyway, don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it was.
Yeah, probably Ishia, I would think so.
Yeah, but asking for a drummer, and I believe that's how it happened. And I believe friend through a friend found a drummer.
Interesting choice. It's the guy from like ST Drums, and he plays
STD Drums, and Rose,
right?
Yeah.
That's
incredible.
Crazy. It's full circle, because Rose, obviously he wasn't in the band at that time, but Rose were like the first Japanese band to kind of play in the UK, I think, back in the day. So it's like full circle.
Oh, really? I didn't know
that.
Yeah,
they came like before SOB, before Gauze. They went Heresy, brought them over. So
no kidding. God,
yeah. He wasn't in the band. He wasn't even probably even born. I don't know.
I know, but that'd be such a bad. He's watching.
That was an interesting choice. I was like, damn, it's like usually from like ST Drums and Rose.
the dude is fucking insane on drums. He's so incredibly talented, man.
I'll tell you a little story about him. Guys, a little story. It's like, when was this? Maybe last year. He came down he's from Tokyo, right? He came down to Osaka, and he like played, he did like some busking with his like a little drum kit down the street there in Osaka. Yeah, crazy.
And then he's insane, dude. He's so incredibly talented. And I remember like for the FOTK demo, we're just like, you know, everyone's all super stoked online, like, fuck yeah, cheers, let's do it, you know, and then send him riffs, you know, and, you know, he's pretty familiar with how the software works, and, you know, how to track remotely, you know, we all do. And he just set up an electric kit in his little pad, you know, in his little apartment.
Right.
You know, like cracked it out and just recorded and sent back the tracks. And, you know, Steve would be mixing it. And Steve would be like, dude, you got to hear this drum track. And it's just, I mean, the dude is incredibly talented. So
yeah.
He's been an asset to the band for sure.
Cool. So,
man,
when's it coming out? What's on the horizon? Tell us all about
okay, so the EP,
all right.
The EP is coming out off Phobia Records, who is
cool.
Killer label.
Good label, right?
Fuck, man, they treat you good. Murik, he treats you well. He's very, very good label. Very DIY, done right.
Yeah.
That's coming out in September. Unfortunately,
okay.
Dude, it's, I mean, the backlog and pressing plants are so jammed right now. It sucks, but
right.
So yeah, September, and then we are right now working on the LP. So
nice.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll be out this year as well?
I'm sorry.
Do you think that'll be out this year?
No. Well, I mean, we the tracks will probably be finished this year, but it's just the pressing plans,
right.
You know.
Right.
I mean, I can send you a couple tracks, maybe. You know.
But yeah, I think people are looking forward to that EP. What's it? It's going to come with a bonus flexi. Is that?
It is. Right? Oh, dude, I was like drilling it into the guys. I was like, guys, we have to do a couple covers. Like, and of course, it's just like, I'm the only one super stoked on it. You know, I was like, come on, man. Like, dude, you know how important these songs are and what they did for the generation. Like, we have to do it right. So it didn't take much, but like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we're doing Life.
Okay.
From Disorder.
Wow,
and then we're doing,
That's
crazy. Oh, dude, it's like the greatest track. It's the greatest song ever. And then we're doing End Is Nigh, the KSUK song from the first LP. Cool. Which is super interestingly rad how it was redone.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. Well, that beer looks good. I'm going to have some.
Yeah. Well, that's something to look forward to. I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, man. I'll keep you updated on that too.
I think that's a good way to finish off. Fear of the Known. Something positive. Something to look forward to.
Fear of the Known.
Fear of the Known.
War Plague's working on their next LP now.
This year? Next year?
We'll be finished. We'll record this year. Pandemic, you
right.
know, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, we're going to record hopefully this year, and then Phobia is going to help us release that as well. Probably next year.
Fantastic.
So, that's all I got for you, man.
All right. Thanks, Andy. Let's have another.
Got it, buddy.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our little chat as much as we enjoyed doing it.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Andy. Talk to you soon.
Ciao.
Until next
Bye-bye.
time, stay healthy. Stay clean.